today I'm here speaking with you because a friend of mine, Zipporah, said that I need to do more on the garden. I need to make a video explaining everything I did and everything that I went through in the process of putting the garden together. So this video is dedicated to Zipporah, who's encouraging me to document what I've done and what I'm going to continue to do on the property here. And so without further ado, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some of the before areas, or I should say before pictures of the garden. Take a look at the process of what I went through to get the property ready, and then show you where we are today. I think one load would have been enough, Father. Amazing. Pecera. That pine smells so good. Okay. All of that is going all up underneath in there. 5 inches of it all over the property, front and back. Here we go. Amazing. So, of course, I'm reminiscing as I'm watching those videos. And I distinctly remember when I ordered the quantity for basically less than a quarter of an acre. The house included, the house is a quarter of an acre. But so the quantity was for less than a quarter of an acre. I had no idea the sheer volume that was going to be delivered. And I was looking at that and I thought, oh my goodness. And I was just overwhelmed by the sheer amount that was being dumped on the driveway. And the next morning I got up with my little rickety broken down wheelbarrow, which I'm still using. And I looked at that with my wheelbarrow and I thought, what in the world did I get myself into? And I was really kind of sick at my stomach and thinking, man, because I knew I was going to be doing all this work by myself. And I just kind of like thought, well, how do you eat an elephant? You know that old adage, how do you eat an elephant? You eat an elephant one bite at a time. And so that's what I did. Every day I got up and I took a wheelbarrow at a time. I'd fill that wheelbarrow up and I would work until I would get up just as it was light and try not to make any noise for the neighbors. And I'd work until it reached 90 degrees and then I would quit for the day. And then it would come back in the evening if the temperatures dropped enough, and I'd work until I couldn't see what I was doing anymore. And so I ate those elephants, and they were as big as elephants, one bite at a time. And you'll see my little wheelbarrow in pictures. I'm sure I'll intersperse the pictures of the wheelbarrow here and there. But it was quite a project. It took me about 5 months, but I took a break because my daughter came to visit for I think 3 weeks. So I took a break in there, but just working in the ambient weather with what the ambient weather presented, and just working early in the morning and late in the evening. It was just like, I look at it now and I'm thinking, I think I was crazy. It's a good thing, God, you told me to do this before I knew what I was going into, because if you told me ahead of time, I don't think I would have thought I could do it, but I did it.
He wants to make pizza.
Oh, is it wood for wood or with gas? What kind
With
of
gas.
With gas.
No, with electricity.
That makes me smile. It's just amazing what happened on the property in 2 years. So the next portion we're going to look at is today on the property, the Sabbath. I got up early and made a video while everybody was still asleep. Everybody sleeps in, but not me. I'm an early bird, always have been. And I take you on a walkabout on the property and just give you a look-see what's going on. I actually don't have any pre-photos, I don't believe, of the front property. I'm going to look around and see if I can find one to drop in the video so that you can see a comparison. If I can come up with one, I think maybe I know where one might be. But next we're going to look at the difference in the property on both the front and back. Good morning, Shabbat Shalom. Thought I would just show you my garden progression I've made towards the rain that's around the corner. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm green. Here we are at the very, very, very tail end of the blistering season without rain. And, it's still in disarray. Like, I think the dogs knocked over the pot this week, and there's always stuff to do in the garden. But here we are at the end of what they call the summer, that long, hot season without rain. And this is what my garden looks like. There's a lot going on under the earth, a lot of things that will come back. There's an eggplant I've been overwintering for 3 years. Of course, these are sweet potatoes. I dig them up as needed. They just let them grow until I need them. Horseradish over there, moringa trees. Finally, my pawpaw or my papaya tree has slowed down. I'm telling you, they're at the very end. Oh, we couldn't eat everything. I was giving them away. I was taking them, cutting them up and taking them to social gatherings, and it was quite a chore to keep up with what it was putting out. But I'll show you here. That's cabbage. Some of those are 2 and 3 years old. And yes, they look stemmy, but they're still putting up little heads of cabbage. There's just the 2 of us. Many of those are going to be serving sizes for us, so I have not taken those out. And again, we've had 107-degree days, up to even higher actually. And look at the cabbage, how it's sustained itself. Broccoli that's made it through the summer. And these, the wood mulch with the drip irrigation underneath it. And if you're wondering why the big tents, it's because I have a Eurasian blackbird. Israel has Eurasian blackbirds, and he will dig up every bit of this drip irrigation to look for worms underneath there. So I need to come in here and rebury this, but you can see I planted potatoes and they're coming up now. So what I'm doing with the system I use is when I harvest it, I put it back in the earth, and when it's time, they come up. And back there's nothing back here yet, but that's where most of my leafy greens, my arugula, my lettuce, my bok choy, those leafy green type things, they live back there. Pine trees that have begun from the pine cones, then they're growing really well. I actually have those all over the yard. My kale and a lot of my Swiss chard made it through the summer, and I've got this set up so it seeds right where it is, and as soon as the rains return, all of that will be full of Swiss chard, and I have a few more kale plants I'm setting out this year, trying to get those established so I don't have to plant them anymore. I will show you what I've been learning to do this week. I actually bought myself an electric chainsaw, and I don't know why I waited so long, other than my husband was afraid I'd cut my arm off. But so far, praise God, I have not done that. Let's see if I can get out the gate here, sorry. All of those bags of refuge are coming out of the yard. That's one whole bag of lemongrass. I'll show you my lemongrass. It's an amazing greenery here for year-round green. I've cut all of that down. All of that down out of the garden. Now I'll take you into the garden in the front. Oh, this is a look in on my fig tree. And I put in a measurable date here in the last month. Of course, more sweet potatoes. Just some decorative grass. I still have some cleaning to do in my herb bed. Lantana I do not love. It showed up. I beat it back every year, but I tell you what it's good for. When it's in bloom, you can pack the blooms down in coconut oil and let them sit for a week, shaking the jar, make sure the coconut oil stays liquid. And if you pack those blooms down in coconut oil, then it makes a really, really super good insect repellent. But this one I don't need because my back fence line's full of my neighbor's lantana, and the blooms push through the fence. Some apple tree, another moringa tree. I still have that whole corner to clean. I've cleaned all this.
and cut it back, and it'll all come back thick and bushy. This little citronella, they call a lemon geranium here, it was so big it filled that whole area and hung over the sidewalk. And it's only one plant, and it's been there for since we moved here. Here's the lemongrass. I cut it down 3 days ago, and all the light green is new growth. That's the old growth. That's where I cut it back to, and this is all new growth. Sadly, I lost this palm tree. First year to make dates. It had, I don't know anything about palm trees, and how long it had been infested, I don't know. So that palm tree had been here for a very long time, and I found the destruction with my chainsaw. Somebody had badly trimmed the, a palm tree will sprout new little arms on the trunk, and you keep those trimmed away. Well, they had been badly trimmed, and when I went back in behind and cleaned up the dead material of what was left sticking out like little knobs and cleaned it to the trunk, that's when I found the infestation. And I took a water hose and I really blasted out all the dead material that the insects had eaten, and just it made no sense to try to save it. So that was a huge learning curve for me, especially with my new majul date tree, to really keep it cleaned against the trunk so you can see what's going on. But you can see there's even some infestation down in there still. They get weevils and destroy the tree. I wanted to try to save the tree, but it made no sense to let it continue to grow. That destruction is too far into the trunk of the tree, and the taller it got, the more susceptible of breaking it was. And some things here, places I'm going to put some fruiting bushes. This is a moringa tree. I planted from seed, and sometimes they do die back, but if you get the root established, they come right back. So that's coming right back. My new favorite fruiting tree is a patanga. Now I'm getting a strawberry guayaba. I'm really excited for that. But these are also very, very good. Those are turned red, and they're really good, really good. Kind of tastes like a cherry cranberry mix. Goji, another moringa, banana. I'm going to move the bananas over there and put several in here where they're shielded from the wind. A Turkish fig. And this is a mango. And this is a, we had them in Latin America. This is escaping me right now. I don't remember. I'll tell you later. I'll write it in letters on the screen. Annona. You have to have a male and female tree. So they're deciduous, and they have shed, but they're coming back. This is the male annona, and that's the female annona. There'll be another place there for a fruiting bush. This is where I'm going to move all of the parrots, God willing, out in this area under the tree with an aviary big enough to have chickens on the ground. And another moringa. You just can't have too much moringa. Number one, when they shed, the leaves are extremely good for fertilizing. Number two, it's a superfood. And if you don't have anything else to eat, you can survive on moringa. And this is a loquat and a kumquat. And this is a pomelo and two pomelos and a a clementine tree. And I've got to clean up this area here too. So this, I haven't made it this far. This will look better next week. And this one, I've got 4 more berry bushes coming. I've got a blackberry, and I'm going to put in some raspberry bushes, and eventually I'll put in some gooseberries and things like that. I'm not sure about strawberries. They're so short-lived. They're really good, but man, they don't have much time to produce in a year. When I think about the maintenance and what they put out, I don't know if I'm going to put in strawberries. But anyway, so you can see I do know something, a little bit of something about planting and growing food here in Israel. I kind of do know when things are supposed to be planted and when things should be seen on the earth. And nobody helps me. This is my own project. All the stuff, my new chainsaw, my new crush, I was able to clean out this fence line alone. In the previous years, I've hired somebody, but I did that this year and just cut the limbs up from the trunk. They grow down to the ground, and the next year they'll come down again, and I'll have to clean this up to the fence line so I can get to the fence line if I want to put something else in there. But I was able to do that myself this year because of my new electric chainsaw, which I'm very, very grateful for. A bit of an expenditure, but it has already paid it for itself in one usage. If I had to pay for what I did myself, it would have been more than 1,000 shekels. It would have been more than $300. So I get to save my money for big projects, like I need to have this tree cut out of the, need to have that tree cut out of the electricity up there that feeds over to the house, because we don't want to lose power. So I'll have someone come in with a gas-powered chainsaw and take that one arm completely down, because I just decided I cut it every year, and it's better money just to take it out. My money will last longer. So the bigger money, and to trim up that palm tree, which does not produce fruit you can eat, produces fruit but not fruit you can eat. Clean it back up to the top and get those long arms down. So bananas will go here, first and second tier. I think I'm going to put roses here. And then I'm going to pull the rocks out of this place and put bananas in this place. The reason I'm doing that is bananas do not like wind, and they'll be sheltered a bit by the house. And I may put, they use a growing, like a tent in the banana orchards to keep the wind down. And I may get some of that netting even, and box this corner in just to make sure that my bananas don't fight. See, I've had him sitting there for 2 years, and he just does not like the wind. He survived, but he just does not like the wind. So he's going to come over here, and I'm going to get some more to be his companions, and we're going to put a growing net over them. All right. I hope everybody has a wonderful Shabbat, and it's so lovely. Listen to the quiet. One of the things I love about the Sabbath is the quiet. The quiet and the birds. Shabbat Shalom. I'm going to go enjoy mine. I've already taken my chair for Shabbat here out in the quiet, but I thought I should also tell you I lay my own drip irrigation. So those trees I put in, I run those drip irrigation lines, and I pretty much do everything around here. So that's just for your checklist of qualified inspectors. I love what I do. And I also think because I love it, it makes me a little bit better at inspecting than the other inspectors. Because I'm already connected to the earth. I'm already connected to the environment 12 months out of the year. And there's no place I'd rather be than to be on the land listening to my Father's voice.
Well, I certainly enjoyed that look back to see where I started with the property. I hope you have too. You have to also, the other thing you should know is that all the drip irrigation that exists under the property, I've laid all of that as well. So that's the look back to see, and there's still work going forward. If you have any interest in planting a tree in Israel, please use one of the links below to donate. A tree that will bear fruit costs about 400 to 600 shekels a piece, depending on the type of tree it is, and that would be 400 shekels is about $130, and 600 shekels would be roughly $200. But if you do have any interest in planting a tree in Israel, let me know, and use one of those methods to donate, and you can mark it for a tree or for the garden or something similar. And that's not, I mean, it would be great, lovely if you did, of course. I'm doing this all out of our pocket, but there's a lot of work still to go forward. I'm almost finished with the tree level. Next comes the bushes. There will be a level of fruiting bushes below the trees, and still after that there'll be some more work to do past all of that. But anyway, that's where I started and where the journey has taken me, and there's more to come. And I'll probably, since support is encouraging me, I probably will do updates in the future.